We're going to be saying the word Trump a lot over the next 9 months, maybe 4 years and 9 months. We'll see. But as of right now, he's ripping through these primaries. So he won Iowa. He just won New Hampshire. He's giving his victory speeches. Vivek is up there, just Viveking. Nikki Haley will not step down. She's a fighter, she said. What do you think? I mean, is this...
It's over. Nikki Haley is from South Carolina, and she's going to get killed. All the lieutenants in South Carolina have already endorsed Trump. She has no shot. The Republican Party has spoken. Donald Trump's their guy.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Hey, Anna.
What's going on?
All right, one more day, man. It's just you and I until, you know, the Euro D plus the boys tour returns today.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing.
What part?
I thought we'd get them tomorrow, but
right,
fresh off a Europe trip, their schedule was just so tight that we couldn't get the full recap.
Yeah, I mean, at least we'll get in studio Sunday, which will
it might be the full hour, right?
I mean, I would hope so, right? It just depends on how much content they brought back with them. And I would hope it's enough to fill an hour.
Yeah, I think the only content I've really gotten since we last talked is Dee's watching Equalizer 3 on the plane home right now.
Oh my gosh. That's going to be his content of the week.
He said it's incredible. I haven't watched it, so
I don't even know what that is. Who's the star of that?
It's Denzel. I asked. I was like, who's the star? It's Denzel. So it seems right
There's
up
no
Dee's
chance it's good.
No chance.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll get a review and we'll hear from Hav. But until then, we got some news to cover. Oh, what about, I mean, I actually made this my winner of the week, but you mentioned it right before we started recording, so we might as well talk about it. I mean, NFL ratings. We talked about those games last weekend. Obviously, now the numbers are in. It's just, I'm sorry. I know we sound repetitive, listeners. You might be like, shut up. We know. I mean, but this is just absurd.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Chiefs Bills 50 million viewers.
I mean,
in a time where everyone thinks linear TV doesn't work, everyone's distracted by social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, streaming, and this product just continues to deliver. It's the only product that delivers.
I'll tell you what else that I was thinking over the weekend is like, you know, if you want to go down the lane of like government sort of controlling like narratives and, you know, I mean, this isn't conspiracy theory to think that like, you know, maybe a story comes out that you want to be kind of buried and you want to work on something else, or, you know, there's always a little bit of like manipulation of the news cycle. And one thing that I noticed is, especially on Twitter, anytime it's game day, especially NFL, every trending topic is just about the games that are on.
Right.
It's just the quarterback's name or the this or the that or something that happened.
And even like the third string running back that fumbles, he starts trending.
Right. The amount of mind share. Like when you think about like what else does the whole country connect on that frequently? It's not the news anymore. It's not Tom Brokaw. It's not nothing. But sports like is bigger than ever, while everything else that's like nationwide is smaller than ever when it comes to media.
I would say specifically the NFL because every other league is declining in ratings.
Right. So the NFL...
The NBA is declining. There's like no question about it. And I'm a huge NBA fan. The NBA is declining in ratings. The games are irrelevant until the playoffs. And even playoff ratings year over year keep going down. And you have this one unique product across all sports that America cannot get enough of.
So think about that. Everyone says, when are we going to come together? You know, maybe it'll be aliens that'll bring us all together. Maybe, you know, if there was another 9/11, I wonder if everyone would come together. Really, football brings both sides together. The only thing that everyone's watching every week.
And what do you think the Taylor Swift bump was? So I think they had 10 million more viewers than the other games. So I think the other games had like 40. And
So probably not that
granted,
much. I mean,
Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen was the marquee game of the weekend. There's no question about it.
right. So it should have been higher. So I don't think actually that much.
Right.
Because
It
to
was
me,
a great game too.
right. Just take Taylor Swift out of it. Those numbers just make sense for the difference of how big the games were. And to your point, the Kansas City game was just really good. So
Yeah.
I think it's mostly girls joining their boyfriends who were already watching. I don't think that there's a lot of girls getting together, tuning in that otherwise wouldn't have just for the cutaways of Taylor Swift. I'm sure it happens, but I don't think it's millions.
Yeah. But 50 million viewers in an era of disintermediated media
Right.
is fucking insane.
It's insane. And to our point last week, the Kelsey bros, I just can't wait to see where they go from here. I mean, that means 50 million people watch Jason Kelsey take his shirt off and jump into the crowd. I mean, just.
I mean, that image probably got, 300 million views? If you think about
At
TikTok
least.
clips of him with his
It
shirt
was
off.
everywhere. Because then there was like, oh, here's a zoom in of Taylor Swift's reaction when he did it. Here's him picking up a fan and showing her to Taylor Swift. Here's like, there was so many. That whole scene was probably 5 minutes.
And it might have been 1 billion views.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just.
Think about it globally.
It's insane. Okay, well, that's what's going on. And that also takes care of my winter. But man, it's nuts. What do we got this weekend? What's on the football docket?
So we got the Niners Lions, and we have the Chiefs Ravens.
That's going to be a big one, huh?
I think I want my prediction right now up front.
I do. Yep.
I think
70?
Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens send Travis Kelce into retirement, Jason Kelce into retirement. Taylor Swift is never in an NFL game again.
Wow.
And they go on to the Super Bowl. And the coach, Andy Reid, retires too.
Is that Sunday?
Sunday.
I got to watch that. That's a big prediction.
Lamar
How many
Jackson,
viewers?
he's oh God. What do you think that 60?
Yeah, I said 70. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, 70? I have no idea. Who isn't going to watch that game?
Yeah. I would argue that it's kind of, I'm not saying the numbers will be bigger, but like it's close up there with Super Bowl in hype because it's like, okay, is Travis and Taylor going to make it to the Super Bowl? Like, like this is a big moment for all of, at least all the Swiftie fans. And then just football fans. I mean, this is a big, do the 49ers make it back to back?
Lamar Jackson's a big draw. He's not a nobody. He's
what did he get hurt
superstar.
last year? Why wasn't he?
He battled injuries last year. He's also young. He's 26 years old.
Right.
He's an MVP. He's going to win the MVP this year.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a 2-time MVP. He's playing lights out.
Game.
The Ravens defense is just bananas. They go out to hurt people.
It's a shame that's not the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the right guy to ask, but like that would be that'd be a great Super Bowl matchup.
And then you have the Niners, which is a storied franchise, playing the Lions, which is the up and coming kind of sleeper because they haven't been good in 30 years.
Right. Okay.
I'm predicting Niners Ravens in Vegas.
And then you're predicting roughly 60 million. What's your overall both games total viewership? 100 million?
The Niners game will probably be around 40. Yeah. And I think the Chiefs game will be Chiefs Ravens will be 60.
Okay.
So 100 million people are going to be tuning in.
It's absurd.
All day Sunday.
I love it. I love the vibe at the grocery store. I love it's just, there's something that it's like a holiday when you get into this time of the football season.
And what's
it's really
actually
fun.
pretty impressive about the viewership at this point is that the early part of the season, you have fantasy people, you have pick'em leagues, you have people that aren't really invested in football that are paying attention. At this point, unless you're a degenerate gambler like myself, you actually just want to watch.
Right. So exciting. Okay, let's talk about some news. Here's the first one. Mr. Beast posted a video on X. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't this a video he had already posted, but he was reposting native to X?
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's what it seems like. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a like world premiere on X, I believe. I'm 90% sure that's the case. It was a video he had made before. He had posted, but he reposted it straight to X as opposed to like linking it to YouTube. And I think it was a little bit of an experiment of what would happen. How many views would it get? How much revenue would it make? I think was the big question. X is really pushing their sharing, creator sharing model that they're kind of rolling out. And, obviously Mr. Beast knows what he makes on YouTube, and I'm sure he does really well. But he said, so here's the stats. Impressions were 150 million. This is as of January 22nd. So impressions were 150 million, engagements 5 million, revenue $263,000. So this is all the talk. Now, he did say in his tweet, I think that's a little skewed because people saw my video being successful and then sort of attached, bought ads sort of to kind of ride along with it. It's a little bit different model than YouTube. I don't know what he makes off of YouTube. Obviously, that isn't like on the same video or the same amount of views. That's not public. I don't think in any way that he's shared that. But I mean, at least for the future of what could be for creators, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Does that math make sense? 156 million to 260K?
What's
like
the
if
math?
You're like,
what's the CPM?
I mean, we're talking about the Chiefs getting 60 million viewers on Sunday, and it's a multi-billion-dollar TV deal.
Right.
The Peacock paid $110 million for that NFL playoff game last week, and they got 23 million viewers.
Right. Well, I think there's
so
a
the
million.
internet economy still doesn't make sense.
Right. I agree. And I think there's a lot in there, though. It's like impressions. What counts as an impression? Like how many views did the video actually have? How many all the way through? How many whatever? I do think it's extremely undervalued. But it's really hard to look. I think on one hand, it is definitely undervalued. I think on the other, it's really muddy how many people actually watch that video. But it's also really muddy how many people actually watch the game on Sunday. It's not a true number.
Okay, so even if you took a 50% haircut on that 150 million.
Yep.
Peacock paid 110 million for 23 million people to subscribe, and they're going to unsubscribe the next day.
I agree. But I mean, Mr. Beast gets like 100 million views every video now.
This is why the upfronts still exist. Because these networks are willing to pay for this.
Right.
They're just willing to pay for anything. But they won't pay for the internet economy.
You need the pharmaceutical companies to get hip to social media marketing. If you had Pfizer brought to you by Pfizer on a Mr. Beast video, there you go. That should be 100 million.
I still think there's a massive arb with these guys like Mr. Beast paying him $250,000 to call it even if you want to discount the 150 million views to
Right.
even 20%, still better than paying 110 million for an NFL game.
You know, I'm really curious because a friend of ours, a really good friend of yours, did a Mr. Beast integration. Did he tell you how that went?
I think the viewership is too young.
Right.
So I think the average viewer is like 11, 12 years old.
Right.
So they're not a dog owner.
It's also just this weird, like in my opinion, from like if I were to think about spending marketing dollars, some of these creators have gotten into this weird middle zone where like for instance, if I ran a commercial on last week's football game, I don't think I would see an equivalent return for how much that would cost. Like, I think it's more of like these massive companies that are just kind of like, it's a brand recognition thing. And it's just like, we have so much money to spend on marketing. We need to be in people's brains. It's not about how much this will actually return directly. And I think that like, obviously Mr. Beast or even these bigger creators are kind of in this middle zone where like, I don't know that it totally checks out for them either, right? Like if you did an integration with them, you might not return enough revenue from your spend for it to seem worth it. But it's also like not big enough that it's on like Coca-Cola's radar. It's in this like weird middle zone, you know?
Yeah, I think the massive brands like the Procter and Gamble's of the world advertise so that when you walk into Ralph's, you're just top of mind.
Right.
It's not like there's a one-to-one conversion. It's like
Exactly.
you're walking down the cereal aisle. You're like, oh yeah, that Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I saw that ad.
Plus, they just do so much revenue that when your marketing budget is, you know, whatever it is, you just have to spend it, and you just have to. It's just a different world than, like, for instance, what we're used to on like smaller influencer marketing, where, you know, you do a spend, like for instance, like what Athletic Greens is doing. You know, like they do a lot of spend, but they also track it really close. And they see what podcasters are actually returning revenue and getting signups. And, you know, it's still a different type of marketing than a Super Bowl commercial. And I think like the Mr. Beast of the world is like in between the two.
So that's why you think he's not getting.
This is what I think. I think that the real money and the real value for him is that the Procter and Gamble marketing department should be paying him an insane amount of money, because it's much better spent, or whatever company, because it's much better spent with him than on a commercial for Law and Order at 9 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, if you know that Mr. Beast's viewership is 11 and 12-year-olds, you should be advertising toys, juices, whatnot, and pay him tens of millions of dollars for it.
I mean, Hershey's, look at, like, he is legitimately disrupting Hershey's, and they never should have let that happen. They should have paid him to.
He might have been too smart to figure it out. Meaning that he's like, why would I take the check from Hershey's? I could just do my own. He seems pretty.
I agree with you. Look, I agree with you. And I'm not saying like, oh, they dropped the ball, because he probably would have. But I do think that like there's an amount you could pay. Like, I think in hindsight, Gatorade is going to look back at Prime and Hershey's is going to look back at Feastables. And they're going to be like, would it really have killed us to pay them whatever it took to not start a brand?
Yeah, you're right.
Because you know how it is too.
What Nike does with LeBron and Tiger Woods.
But you know how it is. Like, it's not like Logan and I mean, I'm sure they're doing fine, but it's not like their cash flow is necessarily huge off of those brands. You know, like Logan owns a relatively small piece of Prime. Who knows how much they're cash flowing him? It's not like when you see, oh, they're going to do $1 billion in sales. He's not making, you know, $700 million. We know that. But what I'm saying is there is a price you could have paid them to not worry about doing all this stuff to start a brand. Or maybe you give them their own little, you know, brand under your brand. And I just think they're going to look back at it and been like, whatever the price would have been worth paying.
No, I totally agree. I think it's a ball drop in that sense because if you get someone early enough, they're going to take the check.
Right.
It's why every athlete takes a check. And now Tiger is going on his own. He's
Right.
like, I can make more money on my own. Roger Federer left Nike because he's like, oh, I'm going to make more money on.
Right. But they're still doing that same thing just with like, I believe Tiger is starting a brand with TaylorMade called Sunday Red.
Yeah.
He trademarked it. That went viral. So they're just finding someone who's willing to take that strategy. They're not going and actually starting it themselves. And that's what I'm saying. Like Nike should have done Sunday Red long before TaylorMade.
Yeah. And it'll work too.
Yeah.
Sunday
or
Red's gonna
Federer long before wherever he went. Where'd he go on?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's a new age, and some of these older brands that were so powerful are getting some, like there's some learnings happening here that I think in 5 years, they're going to look back at this moment and be like, God, we didn't realize how much product these people could actually move.
Yeah. No,
And we thought we were the powerful one in the room, and they had more power than we thought. Stanley tumblers. Like obviously I know you're familiar on him, but for our listener, these Stanley like thermos, tumblers, kind of hydro flasky things have just went absolutely wildly viral. We talked about it a little bit. There's people stealing from Starbucks because they have an exclusive release, or there's absolute pandemonium at Target because they have a signature red version. It's just been bananas what's going on with these things. So the newest bit of news in this saga is that now middle schoolers are suffering from bullying for not having a Stanley tumbler. So maybe you don't have one at all. Maybe you have a different, I saw people posting like their Yeti tumbler.
Yeah.
Sounds like that can get you beat up.
Yeah. I mean, this is the sign of the times that in middle school, if you don't have a Stanley, you can get bullied. When I was in middle school, you get bullied for very different reasons.
Yeah.
This is kind of insane that it's even like making the media. It's kind of gone viral. What income bracket do you think these schools are? They have to be private schools, right? There's no one in a public school that's bullying for a Stanley.
I think they might be. I think this is like the Tamagotchi of today. Like which they were all over public schools. I see your point and you might be right, but I think this is so mainstream that I think that this is like one of those moments where you're either in or you're out in like every middle school. You either have the thing or you don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I think kids are getting wedgies for carrying a Yeti into middle school. It's getting stuffed in a locker because they tried to pass with an Alibaba Stanley.
I wonder what bullying is like today. Like, do you think people are actually getting beat up in schools?
I don't.
Or they just get like shunned from like the TikTok group or
Yep.
My
guess is it's more like, you probably get some mean comments. Oh, there's Yeti boy.
Yeah.
Get out of here, you little Yeti bitch. I think it's probably stuff like that. Comments, you get socially shunned. I just don't feel like people are beating each other up.
My junior high, there were fights and everyone would like crowd around and watch and cheer.
Constantly.
It was like a whole thing.
It was constant at my school. There's countless. But I don't know about that. Maybe I have it wrong, but I just feel like I'd be curious. I bet my mom would know. My mom would know like how many fights are there in school, in the middle school and high school.
We know fights in adults is at an all-time high post-COVID. We see this on social media nonstop.
You would think that might translate. That might translate because kids might be, feeling it at home. Dad's a little extra aggressive with the punish. I mean, I think it all starts there, right? Like if violence is tolerated at home, I think you're more likely to punch the kid for having the
You're
Yeti
saying,
cooler
like,
as
dad's
opposed to
beating up mom. What do you?
kinda. I'm saying, look, where do the kids that were always fighting, not like a rare thing, like always fighting at my school. There were some punches being thrown at home, I'm guessing. I think that's
right.
where you learn
fair.
it. Even if it's not dad beating up mom, maybe dad's just a little too aggressive with his punishment of you and your brother, and you go take it on little Yeti boy.
Yeah, don't have a Stanley. Fucking knock him out.
Knock him out. Oh, fuck you, dad. I don't know, but that's my impression is that everyone's soft and you get blocked on Instagram and that's bullying, but I could be totally wrong. And you're absolutely right. People are fighting like never before at sporting events and road rage. And so you could be right. Kids could just be beating the shit out of each other. UFC is more popular than ever. They might see it as a path to, financial freedom.
I wonder, do you think kids are doing they're trying to do like takedowns? Like I watched the Sean Strickland
for sure
DPP fight. They're just like, I'm just going to go after his legs and take him down.
Absolutely.
As opposed to just squaring up and fighting.
Absolutely. Guaranteed. Because now MMA is so much more popular than before. So I guarantee you, like the same way that when I was younger, you were channeling like, oh, I'm a boxer, I'm a, whatever. Like I'm sure kids are acting like they're Israel Adesanya. They're probably throwing leg kicks. Yeah. You know what I mean? In the lunchroom.
They square up and they're just like just swinging their legs.
I do.
And then they fall on their back and get their ass beat.
Yeah, I do. I'd be really curious to hear. I'm going to ask my mom how many people are fighting in school. In high school.
I have a great junior high story. So the junior high I went to was not the greatest of schools. Mm-hmm. It was like a mixed bag of like who was there. Yep. And there was a kid who was like training as a boxer. He's 12, right? Yep. Like whatever age 7th graders are, I forget. And there's another kid that he was kind of just like an asshole. Mm-hmm. And it's PE. And they started getting into like a little like scuffle.
Right.
And the PE teacher walked away knowing the boxer would beat the shit out of the other guy. And he literally walked away and we all watched and the boxer just fucking pummeled him.
Was it sort of like he felt like that kid deserved it because he was an asshole?
Exactly. Yeah. He's just like, I'm going to walk away and then I'll come back in like 10, 15 minutes and then break it up.
I get it. I feel like I would do that now. Like if you think about it now, think about, we're adults now. And if you saw like 12-year-olds and you're like, that one's kind of a dick. And that one really knows how to fight. I'm just going to go take a lap around the hallway.
That's pretty much what he did. It was pretty good.
It doesn't seem that dangerous now, Yeah,
12-year-olds, what are they going to do? They're not going to.
Yeah.
There's no like serious damage.
Yeah, that's good. I'd love to know where they both are today.
Probably not good places.
I just wonder. I wonder maybe the kid learned a lesson that day. Oh, that's good. Okay, here's one more fighting news. Sort of. This is fake fighting. WWE has signed a deal with Netflix worth more than $5 billion. So this is a huge deal because obviously $5 billion. Secondly, WWE, and they have a very big, very engaged fan base. And then third, like this live sports element to Netflix.
Yep.
Really interesting stuff here.
Yeah, I think they're catching on to NFL viewership. This is the only way you can get sticky viewers. You have to have live sports. And the WWE has a very rabid fan base.
Yeah.
People are obsessed with it. It's a 10-year deal, $5 billion. Wasn't there a documentary, the Vince McMahon meme that's gone viral?
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but yeah, I saw that too.
So, look, I think Netflix, this is like the thing that sports media rights has, is that you're going to have the Netflixes and Amazons and Apples to jump in, because I don't think network television can pay the prices that they're going to demand.
Right.
Because if you're the NFL, I don't know when their media rights is up, but it should be triple, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it
Yeah.
is today.
Yeah. Yeah. What
It's
happened?
yeah. It's the only, the NBA's up in, I think, a year, and their viewership's not good. The regular season's completely irrelevant. Even the playoffs are trending down. There aren't American stars outside of LeBron and Steph, and they're on their way out.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to have to sucker a Netflix or an Amazon or Apple to get the price they want, because I just don't see it outside the NFL. There's nothing that's trending.
Yeah. 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 I'm just so curious where all this ends up. There's so many moving pieces here with.
And they're going to lose
TV.
money too, right?
Yeah.
So if they go spend, $10 billion on, MLS, NBA, and MLB, you're probably going to lose money because no one's watching that stuff.
Wonder what happened with all that Apple. I mean, I know it's still going, but the Apple stuff with soccer, I know they kind of kicked that off. I just wonder how are those numbers looking? I wonder.
I think it's just Messi. If Messi's playing, everyone tunes in. If he's not, no one's watching.
Yeah.
I mean, has there been a storyline outside of Messi in the MLS?
I mean, I'm so uninformed on soccer, but to me, I haven't heard anything at all other than whatever Anthony posts.
He posts Arsenal, which is in Europe.
Yeah. That's his team?
That's his team. That's his favorite team.
Yeah.
But I think you're the best litmus test of what's on your radar, because the NFL is on your radar.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, what's on my radar is Messi moving to America and signing a huge deal with Apple.
Is there anything in the NBA that's on your radar this year? In the last 3-4 months? But
there's really not. I'm not trying to say it for effect.
You had the urge to tune in to Chiefs Bills on Sunday.
Right. And I'm legitimately excited for this Sunday. There is not one NBA game that I have even considered watching.
Yeah.
I see the post. Did the Lakers win? Yes, no. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, to your point, I know as a already not that interested potential viewer, I know the games don't matter. So I'm, to me, I'm already so checked out where, I know that even if I did pay attention to who won, it just doesn't matter. I
mean, I even find myself just catching the highlights. I'll tell
you what hit my radar. Draymond Green just going on assaulting spree. That's what hit my radar.
That was good stuff. That's a good story.
Maybe that's what they need to do. Ease up on the fouls.
And they suspended him for him. They should have just let him beat everyone up.
They should have given him a raise. Fight of the night bonus like Dana White does. Maybe they just do a little hockey, let everyone has one Draymond, the enforcer, and let him punch it out like your coach, like your high school fucking gym teacher. Just turn away for 30 seconds. Yeah, ratings would be through the roof. All right. You know what else is Netflix is, they're on a little bit of a hot streak right now. They did their earnings call. Subscribers are way above estimates. I think they estimated 9 million. They're closer to 12. 13. Subscriber additions of 13 million. Their own forecast was 9 million. That caused the stock to pop. Good for them. I mean, they're on a hot streak.
Yeah, free cash flow of 1.58 billion. They're profitable.
Yeah, that's huge.
They beat on subs, and I think a lot of that is the password sharing, like not allowing people to
Right.
share passwords. So
Yep.
the stock got rewarded. It was up 10% in after hours yesterday and still up today. I think Netflix is figuring it out. Of all the streaming, they might end up just being the last one standing, because I'd
Yeah.
assume most of the others just disappear.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they have the content library. And just, Dumb Money,
Yep.
the movie. So I watched it in theaters. Did you watch it in theaters or you watch it on streaming?
No, on Netflix. Yeah.
It's trending insanely right now.
Right now?
Like the last 2-3 days. I don't know when
Why?
it came on the platform, but I think
A
people
while
just
ago.
figured out that it came out a while ago.
Well, I watched it when it was relatively new, probably 2 months ago.
For some reason, it's trending right now.
Right.
And it's all over my Twitter feed. It's just people talking about dumb money, dumb money, dumb money. And it's a pretty bad sign for movie theaters, even though I love the movie theaters, that
Yeah.
it takes Netflix to make this go viral.
Right.
If I would assume if someone could check on Netflix what it's trending, I would assume Dumb Money's probably towards the top based on what I see on social media.
Yeah.
And this movie came out in theaters, and Netflix is doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. I mean, you can't deny it with these numbers, and WWE, they're trying things. I mean, it just seems like such a, once again, it's such like anybody's game, or like such like the Wild West at this moment. Because everyone's just battling for content and viewers. And, I know that, wasn't it like Peacock aired one football game like 2 weeks ago?
Yep, 23 million viewers.
How many? 23?
Mm-hmm. It was the highest
But it's just,
streamed ever, is what they're claiming.
what'd they pay for it? Do you know?
110 million.
Right. I just wonder how all those numbers work out. How many people downloaded it? How many people signed up? How many people canceled? How many people stuck? How many people, like, there's so much. It's just an all-out war. I can only imagine, like, running Netflix or any of these streaming platforms right now must just be, every day is a battle for every subscriber and your churn and what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, Disney Plus must be just bleeding customers, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have old Trumpy. So, we're going to be saying the word Trump a lot over the next 9 months. And, maybe 4 years and 9 months. We'll see. But as of right now, he's ripping through these primaries. He just won New Hampshire. So he won Iowa. He just won New Hampshire.
Yep.
He's giving his victory speeches. Vivek is up there, just Vivekin. Nikki Haley will not step down.
Mm-hmm.
She's a fighter, she said, and she is sticking around. What do you think? I mean, is this?
It's over.
It's over in what way?
He's the candidate for the Republican Party.
Right. Why does this article say there's warning signs?
There's no warning signs. Nikki Haley's going to go to South Carolina and get killed.
This article is just saying weakness with independents who will help decide the general election. So,
yeah,
whatever.
Nikki Haley is from South Carolina, and she's going to get killed. All the lieutenants in South Carolina have already endorsed Trump.
Yeah.
She has no shot. And the Republican Party has spoken. Donald Trump's their guy. Like, think about all the fanfare we had the last 4 years of all these people that were supposed to be the new face of the Republican Party.
Right.
And not one could even hold a reasonable race with him.
Not even close. We thought
And he hasn't
DeSantis
even
was the
campaigned.
guy.
He hasn't even campaigned. This
He's
guy's
not even
just
on
been-
Twitter.
He's not on Twitter. He's not on anything. He's been indicted like God knows how many times at this point, and everyone just gravitates towards him.
So are you telling me, like, what is your sureness that Biden is, it's Trump Biden? Is this like 95%?
I think it's 100%.
That blows my fucking mind.
We talked about it last episode. We're 9 months
I know.
away from the election. You can't just do a switcheroo.
But what are we doing? I thought maybe that was like, maybe the strategy is like you wait till last minute. That doesn't give Trump time to like build up his assault on this person. It keeps everyone confident in Biden, you know, as our current president. And just last minute, bang, switch it out, full marketing assault. Put him in a Mr. Beast video. Yeah. I mean, aren't you, as a Democrat, both of us aren't you mind blown that they had 4 years to figure it out? They knew Trump was looming and they're going to go with Biden again.
100%. We talked about in the last episode. I can't believe they didn't figure out a candidate to groom and start propping up. It seemed like the most obvious thing to do. But then again, we have to get back to how we talk about some of these like massive corporations that have insane flaws, insane miscues. And these are companies that we praise and we're like, how'd they do this? And I think it's the same thing. Like we have too much faith in these like big institutions.
Right.
Like not everyone's figured out anything.
I just don't get strategically. Like I'm not even saying for like what's good for the world.
No,
I'm saying like
my point is we talk about, I forget which episode it was, but we talked about it like probably a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
How you feel so much better about your running, you know, the very small businesses that we have. And you're like, great. If the big guys are still messing up, I don't feel so bad about the way we're doing things.
Yep.
And I think that's just consistent.
Yeah. I hear you. I feel like I learned that lesson time and time again. And that was the OpenAI drama that made me feel that way. But
exactly. That was the one, right? We were like, how much they messed up this $100 billion company in a week span.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same with every organization, institution that you can think of. Like, don't have faith in any of this. Think about how much money the military, the defense spends.
Right.
Think about how much waste there is. Boeing.
It just blows my mind on like
think about Boeing.
Yeah. You're right. I'm just saying that like, even if you think about it in like a kind of a slightly depressing way, right? Meaning like, okay, the military industrial complex wants to stay in Ukraine. They want to keep feeding this war in Israel. They want to blah, blah, blah. They need a guy to win who's going to keep that agenda, because Trump's whole thing is I'm ending the war in Ukraine in 2 seconds. I'm going to step in and blah, blah, blah. No more wars. There was no war under Trump. So even if you're pharmaceutical companies, you know he's going to go in on you. All of these things. There's so many people that are incentivized to keep a Democrat in office. And even they, like, it also makes me kind of feel like, oh, this whole like shadow government and deep state and everyone's conspiring. I don't believe that either. If they all came together and Biden's their guy, I don't believe that they're that synced up.
I don't think so either.
Because you had 4 years to start to build up a guy or girl, lady, whatever. And you didn't, if you roll with Biden again, I don't believe that they're that, like I said, like they're that, you know, like where's the dark room, the back room meetings that we hear about? Where's those happening?
I think the biggest flaw Biden did was having Kamala Harris as his VP.
Why? I mean, I agree in general, but why today?
No,
Why?
in terms of like how to find the next candidate,
Oh, right.
everyone knows she's not a viable candidate.
Right.
And now she's the vice president. So everyone would say if Biden's not running, it's got to be her. Even Gavin Newsom said, if it's not Biden, it's Kamala Harris because she's the number 2. And as a Democratic Party, you can't get rid of your number 2.
Right.
That's a woman that's of race.
Right.
And I think they screwed up on that.
Well, that's what happens when you come out early and you say, no matter what, my VP is going to be a woman of color.
Yeah.
Like you've tried to fill a color and a gender bucket before you filled a competence bucket or even likability. She was unlikable early. I don't even like Gavin Newsom, and I'm not saying I would vote for him, but I would definitely vote for him before Joe Biden today.
Yeah.
Dean Phillips today. Anyone today. I mean, the guy, it's not even about, I don't care what his policies are. The guy is struggling to maintain his, like, come on, man.
What drugs is Trump on? He looks pretty spry.
Just ego and power. Just high as shit on untouchability. I don't know. They say that he's on a lot of amphetamines, allegedly. I don't want to. I don't know what exactly.
He does seem like he has energy.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. He's the only guy that the office didn't age. And he has so much energy and he's so clear. And also, like, I think one of the first things that would go, at least I think this about myself, is like my fight, like my willingness to humor bullshit. And he has time all day. He can fucking take jabs. Yes. He jabs every day in every conversation. He has no problem starting shit. I just feel like even while my mental faculties were still around, I'd probably lose the ability to humor that,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's going to be a fun year of content, regardless. Last but not least, Comedy Central also knows it's going to be a fun year of content because they have brought back Jon Stewart for The Daily Show. He hasn't been on The Daily Show. What did this say? 8 years ago is when he retired. And I can only imagine Comedy Central is just in the absolute dumps. But I think leading up to, Jon Stewart has also went on to be very involved in things, in some of the 9/11 stuff with the first responders and a lot of stuff, and very outspoken about it. And he is really great at making content and doing this sort of stuff. And so, leading up to the election, they're bringing in their big dog.
So I think it's important to note is this has been publicly reported. Hassam Minhaj had the Daily Show job.
Yep.
And then the New Yorker article came out of him fabricating his stand-up comedy.
Yep.
And it's been reported that he lost the job because of that.
Right.
So they were scrambling and they got Jon Stewart.
Man, he just smolayed himself, huh?
Yeah.
Because he really, I haven't thought about it, but what's he doing? He's just kind of quiet right now, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, I don't know. I like Jon Stewart.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great for the show. I think he's going to bring an insane audience.
Right.
And this is the year you want to do this type of show. It's an election year.
Did he have a show on Apple? Is that where he was?
He did, and I think it got canceled.
What's going on? But maybe I don't know. Sometimes I get served some pretty wild TikToks. I heard that he was fired because he had questions.
China.
Right.
He had questions on China, right?
Right. So who knows though? That's just ripe for a hot TikTok video. But if that's the case in Comedy Central, Comedy Central, what do they have to lose? Let him go nuts, do whatever he wants, get some great content.
Yeah, 100%. It's
their viewership has to be fucking 10,000 people a show.
Yeah, because a good cable show is 330,000 viewers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And how much ad money is going on in that hour of like First Take, I think has like, 500,000 viewers, something like that.
Right. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Rob might know.
Rob would definitely know.
I'm sure he's reverse engineered his own salary pretty well.
When's he coming on the pod?
I don't know. Hopefully soon. I gotta get him because obviously Sunday nights are tough.
We could do any day for him.
Right. But I'd like to have him in. It's just better. Even if I came over on a Wednesday and we did it on a Wednesday.
We should go to his house or go to his office.
We could do that. We could totally
Didn't
do that.
we do that? Or you and Dee did that once.
Yeah, we went to his office. Yeah. Well, soon. It'll happen soon. Okay, who's your winner? My winner's the NFL. We already talked about it. Who's yours?
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious winner, but another winner, close friend, Ryan Braun, was named to the Brewers Walk of Fame, which is effectively their Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And
saw that.
It's a pretty amazing accomplishment for a kid from Granada Hills, where we grew up.
Yep.
And very proud to be a close friend that he accomplished so much that a Major League Baseball team wants to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Right. And just a great guy.
Great guy. Such
a friendly guy. Okay. Congrats to Ryan. Losers. Who's your loser? I kind of blew all mine earlier in the episode. Mine's Nikki Haley. I just, I couldn't care less, but I just think she looks a little, you don't want to go lose in your own state, which is probably going to happen. And she's giving her speech about how she's still alive. It doesn't look good. You don't have to, jump on the Vivek Trump train, but you got to fold them.
Yeah. My loser just got sent in our group chat. Coachella, slowest ticket sales in a decade.
No.
That's crazy. I thought these are just like just sellouts. Doesn't even matter who you put on. So clearly the lineup isn't resonating.
Damn, what do you do about that? Is there anything else? No, it's not economy. Everyone's flying and going everywhere.
It has nothing to do with the economy. Everyone will spend on anything.
Yeah, that's rough. Okay, well, I mean, lineup, or is there just too many? No, I was going to say, is there too many festivals? No, there was the same amount of festivals last year. That's rough.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to watch Doja Cat or Lana Del Rey and Tyler, the Creator, right? Those are the three headliners.
Yeah. And No Doubt, apparently. I really have an urge to check out Stagecoach. You ever went to Stagecoach?
I haven't, but everyone loves it. That's like the natural graduation from Coachella. You do it too much, you're like, I'm going to go see Stagecoach.
Right.
The friends that I know, that we both know that have gone, loved it.
They always love it. Everyone has, I've never heard negative things about it.
Yeah. And they're not even fans of the music. They just go for the vibe.
The vibes,
wear a cowboy hat, wear your boots.
Yeah. I might check that out this year.
Bigger than is Stagecoach going to have their neon carnival? Like, are they going to have?
I could see it. I just feel like country, also with like Morgan Wallen and like all these, like country's hot.
Yeah.
People are into it. Remember when it was like, 10 years ago, it was like, what kind of music do you like? Everything but country. That was like the thing to say if you're a young person.
Now country's hot.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So my loser was Nikki Haley. Yours is Coachella. Content. What do you got? Oh, football, right?
No. Oh, yeah, definitely football. Obviously. Like it's a no-brainer for the weekend.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz have a podcast called The Mark and Ben Show. Mm-hmm. So I think it was originally on YouTube, and now they've released it on like Apple and Spotify and everywhere. Mm-hmm. And they did an episode on higher education and colleges. Yep. It was fantastic.
Really?
and they were just breaking down how flawed the system is today.
Yep.
And, some of the tidbits I'll share, so not spoil the whole episode, but Ben Horowitz said the fact that we have to have student loan debt repaid by the government means that the system's not working because you paid tuition to go earn a job.
Right.
And if the system was working, you wouldn't have the student loan debt.
Right.
20 years later.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's actually
that's such a simple, like fundamental. Yeah. I never thought of
better way to think about it.
Right.
He's like, if the system was working, you wouldn't have all these kids in debt.
Right.
And tuition has risen 2 to 3 times inflation over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Annually. And the number of administrators are like exceeding the number of students at universities.
Right.
And it's just a money grab.
It's a joke. It's just, I think the clearest thing that we've talked about on here before is like, if you just look at the business model, the incentive is not to actually get kids jobs.
No.
Or create income, future income for your students. It's just not the model.
They even joked, even if you got a job at Andreessen Horowitz, you still can't pay back the $300,000 in loans.
Right.
And that's like one of the most elite institutions around.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Yeah,
it's a really good episode.
It's one of their newer ones. It just came out.
So they've put out 2 in the last 2 weeks. This one was I haven't listened to the latest one, and they follow up this higher education. So here's a stat. Mm-hmm. They talk about how universities and the funding that they're all getting, that it's just like effectively like a big circle jerk. Globally, 3 million papers are written a year by professors. And they joke like, who the fuck is reading this shit?
Yeah, I got to listen to this episode. This is right up my alley. It's funny, like with all this stuff going on with the stuff in the Middle East, I think it's really, then obviously Bill Ackman jumped in and is just like, trying to destroy the whole thing. And I just think it's going to cause even people like Ben and them to just take a look at it. Like they're not saying like, oh, here's what's going on with the protests, but just like, what is really going on in these fucking institutions?
Yeah, they're digging. To the credit of the podcast that they did, they didn't talk about any politics.
Yeah.
They were just breaking down the flaws in the whole system.
Yeah. I love it.
And it's a really good episode to be like, why, if you're a young person, I don't know, unless you want to be a lawyer, a doctor, or private equity or a hedge fund banker, why would you go to college?
The only thing I can tell you as someone who didn't and was very far from that world of like Ivy League, it is only connections. I think that is valid. Like I think UND, the connections and the friendships you made at USC ended up being very valuable on a personal level and a business level. And to be honest, I benefited from a lot of those because thankfully you guys welcomed me into your group of friends, and I inherited all of those friendships. But they're all really interesting people that are smart and doing cool things and just great friends. I think that is the only thing, because I see what the path would have been without that.
But I think it's gotten so expensive that you can't justify it.
Right.
Like think about college 20 years ago was a fraction of what it is today.
Right. I guess you're right. You can just go make those similar friends for free.
You have to make an effort. You have to like that. Like, do you want to be in $300,000 worth of debt at 22 years old?
Yeah. No. Yeah, you're right. I think it's just someone has to tell people. You know what I think college does is it gives you those friends without knowing that that's what you're doing. Because you're young, you don't give a fuck, you're out drinking, and all you're really doing is just making friends because you just want friends. It just turns out that because you're at a good school, everyone ends up doing something interesting. Whereas if no one tells you like, hey, this is a valuable thing that you should do, you tend to not do that, or there's no filtering mechanism. So you can end up hanging out with a bunch of losers, or you can, whatever. Whereas like a nice school is a good filtering mechanism to know that all your friends are, a lot of them are going to end up, they're driven people. They're accountable. They're some of them.
The biggest winner from 20 years ago, our friend Angelo, he listens to the pod, close friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He started a business, moved out here when he was 18. D randomly emailed him.
Yeah.
And they became friends. And Angelo got to build a fantastic business that he made a lot of money on.
Yeah.
DeviantArt, and just got to coattail D's college experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he got the best of both worlds.
That's what you need
he's
to do.
building a company.
Right.
And then he had D and all of us like hanging out the whole time.
That's the blueprint. The blueprint is move into the vicinity of a nice school and befriend some really, cool, outgoing people at that school.
Yep.
That's a hack.
It's a good hack.
Yeah. Okay. Content. Oh yeah. I think I talked about this on the pod. I don't remember, but I really wanted to repeat it because it is really good. The Sam Walton book, Made in America. It's just really, really, it's just a great book. So especially if you're in business, or especially retail, or you're selling anything or building any company, but even if you're not, it's such a key, institution in America. It's just a really, really good book. And at the end, he talks about how he's dying from cancer. And that's the only reason he wrote this book. And it just was one of those books that I felt like we're so fortunate that for whatever reason, this guy decided to sit down and write this all down. But great book. I know I kind of mentioned it. I don't know if I made it my content, but everyone who's into reading should check it out.
I think even D talked about it. He might have read it. Maybe
that's what got me,
it.
Actually, is D was like, oh, I read a book. And I think he listened to it, but I was like, okay, if he actually read a book, then I want to at least check it out. It was great.
Yep.
That's it. We got a shout out. We got from Parker Nolan, wanted to submit a shout out. Shout out to my best buddy, Brandon Kung, first generation college student from one of America's worst school systems. Made it to city from a state school, recently taught himself to code in his rare free time, and just shipped his first solo web app. So proud of the guy's constant work to be the best version of himself, and I'm stoked about his first big coding milestone. Nice.
Great.
Shout out to
Doesn't
you.
sound like he wasted money on a higher education.
He didn't. It doesn't sound like the skills he's using he even learned at his regular education. So 2 more points to our bigger point.
Mm-hmm.
But congrats, Brandon. Great job. That's it.
All
Are we
right.
good? We miss anything?
So Sunday is the day. Hopefully we've been all waiting. What's the recap from this 10-day multi-country jaunt of D and Javier? They should have had a cameraman. He should have hired another person to just film them.
You're right. Sunday's going to be a good day. We got lots of sports, and then we got the Super Bowl of the boys. Travel party experience. So it's going to be a big content day on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you Sunday.
Peace.
Peace.